There's a lot of reasons we see breaches during the holiday season. First, organized criminals are becoming very sophisticated and know that majority of transactions done by a retailer are often done during the fourth quarter. That allows them to have a lot more traffic that is going through the retailer environment, and so when you're already a needle in a haystack, if that haystack becomes a lot bigger, it's very difficult to find some malicious activity among millions and millions of lines of data coming through and trying to process transactions on your network. The other reason is that no one wants disruption during the holiday season. So no one wants to take down their point of sale terminals, no one wants to recreate how they accept payments, and as a result, the point of sale system itself typically remains static. So there is no changes because they don't want disruption to the service. They don't want to have some service maintenance come in one night and they open up for Black Friday and they're unable to accept on their point of sale terminals. Well, businesses should think that they're always under attack. And they should think that in the holiday season, that type of attack is only going to accelerate. They should be aware that during that time, if a criminal has discovered a vulnerability during the year, they probably are holding off on exploiting that vulnerability until the holiday season when they have the chance to monetize it to the best of their ability. Another thing that they should be looking for is just making sure that all their anti-malware software is up to date, that they are patching, making sure that their service providers, if they're a small merchant, have been contracted to protect cardholder information, that they continue to update that throughout the year, but especially be sensitive and know that this is a time of year when organized criminals are going to attack them. The other thing that I would encourage retailers and merchants of all sizes to think about is good password management. A vast majority of the compromises we see, well over 70%, sometimes higher than 80% of all the account data compromises we see year over year have to do with either weak or default passwords. Well, consumers can be the first line of defense against any type of criminal activity against their credit card information. We want consumers to be vigilant. We want to make sure that they are monitoring their transactions when they get their statement, go online so it's not just once a month during the holiday season, but regularly check, have notices sent when strange types of transactions come on your bill. Also, what they can be doing is looking at the technology that they're using. If they're shopping and want to get cash out at an ATM, we encourage them to go to where they'd enter the card and give it a little tug. There should be no loose or moving parts. There's oftentimes what we call a skimmer in our industry that an organized criminal would put in there to read that cardholder information. If it does wiggle at all, we encourage them not to use that ATM, but go look for another source. We also encourage people to look at the point of sale system. Does it look like it's been tampered with? Is it moved? Is there stickers removed that might suggest that there is some type of tampering associated with that terminal? Small merchants do not know that they're a target because they just think that all types of criminal activity happens with large retailers and that criminals are going and targeting specifically these types of large big box stores. Small merchants are at risk for payment data theft in a couple of areas primarily. First is weak and default passwords. We highly encourage small merchants to be aware of the ability to change passwords so that criminals, if they find out what a default vendor password is, they don't try to come into your system and use that. It actually may even be a strong, long password, but if it's a default password and the criminal finds out what that password is from another entity, they could actually come in and steal all the information and you would be none the wiser. Secondly, we encourage small merchants that they look at remote access. Make sure that any type of internet connectivity that they have is well protected against malicious users coming in and trying to test their system to see if it's vulnerable. It starts at the perimeter to make sure that you prevent any type of illegitimate traffic from coming in. And finally, we have a challenge with staying up to date on patching. and maintaining up-to-date software in all of their point-of-sale systems. This is important because as new threats become available, it may be that their software they purchased 5, 6, 7 years ago was secure, but new threats have been introduced into the market, and they have to work with their vendors, work with their service providers to maintain up-to-date patches.